It's the afternoon for soccer down here, and it is John here, Niko Moreno from the Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports coming up in just a little bit for Thursdays with Niko on a Thursday. And sorry about the time zone thing. You know, as someone who was born in Los Angeles, in the suburb of Los Angeles, you'd think I'd get this stuff sorted out by now. But the answer is no. And we've got Europa League action. We've got Europa Conference League action going on. It is all over the place. And it looks like, Monaco and Bayer Leverkusen are playing an extra 30 because they went off the rails. 2 matches, completely and totally 3-2 each side each time. So 5-5 heading to the next 30 minutes. And then there's another one involving, Ludogorets Razgrad? And it looks like they are going into, they're heading into the extra 30 as well. So they're far from done. And, Anderlecht and Ludogorets. So, we're in the 106th minute with Anderlecht and Ludogorets right now. That one is tied 3-3 or something to that extent. And Man U and Barcelona, that's the one that's big on the board here in the second go-round of matches. It's Union Berlin and Ajax, Rennes and Shakhtar Donetsk in the Europa League, Roma and Salzburg. And in the Conference League, Ghent and Karabag, Fiorentina Braga. Basel hosting Trabzonspor, obviously the emotion that's attached to that, and Lech Poznan and Bodo Glimt. So that is Conference League, Europa League. Those are going on right now. Just started literally 2 minutes ago, so those are underway. Your winners from the afternoon, it looks like PSV's a winner, Juve's a winner, Angel Di Maria with a hat trick, Sporting over Midtjylland, and one of the biggest howlers that has happened in quite some time. And a game that had gone completely and totally sideways for Midtjylland. It was an own goal by one of their center backs. Passes backward looking for the defender. And sure enough, it ends up with the ball ended up going in the back of the net because it wasn't anticipated that the keeper would be there away from the 6. And so the center back just passes it back, looks over his left shoulder, sends it back toward the 6. The keeper is outside the 6, and it goes in for the 4th goal of the day. So that's where we are. So Manchester United, Barcelona, aggregate tied at 2, and they are just underway. Roma and Salzburg up 1-0 in the aggregate at Roma. Union Berlin and Ajax, goalless in theirs, is there in the 2nd minute at Union Berlin. And Shakhtar leading Rennes 2-1 in the aggregate, and they are at Rennes. And that one is in the 2nd minute as well. So what we will do, it's been a very busy day on the network. If you missed it this morning, caught up with Lucas Panzica from 104.5 The Zone in Nashville. And we got the chance to catch up with him to talk about being back in the Eastern Conference, about Nashville, about the rivalry with Nashville and Atlanta. For those of you on the Twitch pitch, we're talking about how much you enjoyed your trip to Nissan Stadium, because that seems to have been the indicator when Joseph blew out his knee of the beginning of the downturn. And so 3 words that are never mentioned in the Twitch pitch were mentioned. And Nashville was brought up with Lucas, and it was good to have him on this morning. We had Glenn Davis on this morning from Houston to let us know what's going on with the Dynamo and what's going on in Houston itself, a really interesting case, and also with what's going on in the Western Conference. And we also had John Arnold from Get CONCACAF on a Substack, and the announcement yesterday that he's going to be a part of the FC Dallas broadcast team. So it was good karma in that regard that we got to catch up with John, and we had our first parachute in by a golden ticket member. John Schuster came in this morning and from Minnesota after a tournament that he won, and so he got to crash and he got to talk with me and with John Arnold. So you had 3 Johns in the last segment of the show: John Arnold, me, and John Schuster, all discussing Minnesota United and also discussing FC Dallas and the fact that the Loons play Dallas in the first match week of the season. It's pretty funny to get the 2 of them going back and forth. And it was really cool to have that kind of a crossover. You know, it's very rare when you get to ask somebody on the if they're a guest and they like curling, and then you bring in a gold medalist. So it was fun to have John Schuster come in and talk Minnesota United for like 5 minutes as Minnesota United was getting ready for FC Dallas. You can pick that up on the app, and that broadcast is there. We'll have the individual segments with Lucas and with Glenn and with John Arnold up individually later this afternoon, so you can listen to those if you like. Tomorrow morning, on the show starting at 9:05. It is the standard Friday show. We will get you ready for match day with Atlanta United San Jose. We'll talk about that in the first half hour. Non-goals mentoring will come in at 9:30. 10 o'clock will be the start of the weekend whip around, and we will get everything squared away there when it comes to getting you ready for the weekend. And speaking about getting ready for the weekend, I'm going to try to do the fancy thing here and not mess up and hopefully it won't mess up anything like reception or audio or video, but nothing is possible and everything is possible here. I'm going to try this and we'll see what happens. Beat 2, 3, 4. There he is. Niko Moreno from the Soccer Bar, Pulso Sports. It is time to let it ride with Thursdays with Niko on a Thursday. And how has your match week prep been? You getting ready for everything heading up on Saturday? You've got the Rave Green mug. You're ready to go. You're rocking and rolling. What's match week prep been like for you getting ready for Seattle's first match of 2023 in Major League Soccer?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Right here, right now, this is game one for me. This is getting me ready for what's coming up because it's been a lot, trying to prep things, trying to get things going. I am excited, though. I'm happy. I mean, like Mr. Rogers would say, it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. I'm just in my element. There's a lot of things going on, obviously, right now with you guys. Love being here. In about an hour, we got Soccer Bar, so make sure to check that out. Then I got to get ready because I got a couple of things that I'm working on for tomorrow for Pulso. So we're just in it, baby, ready for the season to start.
Have you purchased the Bruce Lee jersey yet?
I have not because I have a feeling that I will be getting one. Oh. So I am waiting on that. I will be buying the jacket, though. The jacket, I don't know if you've seen the Bruce Lee jacket. It's sick. I love it. So I kind of called in a early Father's Day gift for that one. Okay. So I'll be getting the jacket. But the jersey, I'm hoping I'm not wrong, and it is on its way to my house.
All right. Let's get into our version of the weekend whip around because, when it's bright and early on a Friday morning, you're getting into probably late first cup of coffee, and we're going to talk about the games on the weekend. But let's start with what's going on with Seattle. The jury of 13 over at MLSsoccer.com was breaking down all the teams, and they were like, okay, they gave all of the descriptions, and some teams were all over the place. Right now, it looks like the jury of 13, for the most part, has Seattle 1, 2, or 3 in the West, although 3 of the members of the jury of 13 have Seattle 6th. When you look at Seattle in the West right now, where would you have Seattle as you look at your peers who have them mostly 1, 2, or 3 with a couple of 6s?
That's quite interesting. I'm going to go right in the middle. I see them at 3 or 4. That's where I've kind of laid the line when I go back and, you hear me talk all the time about, high ceiling, high floor, whatever. So I think that their lower baseline on a bad day it's pretty high, but their potential is a little bit limited this year. So I'm going to go ahead and go with third. If I have to pick one right now, I'm actually not done with my predictions, but it's been between 3 and 4. Every time that I've looked at it, when I look at the other teams, when I look at this team, yes, that's where I have them. And it's just based on that. The big component that JP is to this team, it gives them a whole different dynamic. It allows every single player to go back to certain duties that give them the ability to just play better on the field. I really like what I'm seeing from Nuhu on a defensive standpoint. They're just completely making him a lockdown defender and not having him worry about getting too high or getting too far up. I think that's really going to give Seattle the ability to not be so vulnerable in counter and transition moments, which was a big letdown at the end of the year last season. I really like what I've seen from Eber, and we'll get to talking about this first game because there are some injury components. But I really believe, to conclude the general thought, that Seattle has more depth than they did last year in the attacking end because a lot of the young players have taken one or two steps forward. And that, to me, gives them a lot of possibilities to rotate, change. That midfield is so talented, so strong. The wingers, the depth in positions is not huge, but in terms of what certain players can do there, I think it's just fine. So I really do believe that this team has the experience, the quality, the talent, and the core group, starting with Nicolas Odero, that to me is going to have a fantastic year. I've said it before. This is his last year. He knows it, or he knows that this is his last for sure year. There's no option next season. I'm sure he's going to want to completely live it all out on the field. Raul Ruiz has gotten some health issues, but I think he's going to come on with everything. Albert Rusnak, now it's time for him to shine. Yemer Gomez Andrade, Stephen Fry. I just really like what that core group is, and I think it's enough to get third in a Western Conference that I think has a lot of question marks.
When you look at who's out, who's in, fairly easy to peg that. Bruin out, Hebert in. When you look at the individuals for this season, looking at the juice boxes as we do, because we understand that the juice box is an important part of what folks are looking at these days. It's the only match on Sunday. It is 8:00 kick. Seattle hosting Colorado at Lumen. Juice boxes right now have Seattle at a -122. Your draws a +281 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. And Colorado to win is north of +300, almost a +310. You mentioned the injury concerns for Seattle. I imagine that doesn't sway your juice box placements any, but how does that impact what Seattle's going to be doing against the Rapids at home?
I think it should affect the numbers a bit because we still don't quite know how Eber is going to produce. We can pretty much tell what he did at the end of the season. We know he's a very talented player. He's had a very good preseason, as a matter of fact, but we still got to see it out in plain sight. However, Seattle's concepts are going to be the same. One thing we've heard from coaches, from front office members, and anybody that has talked about Eber is the fact that he's giving you a lot of what Raul can provide you with. I still believe that obviously there's a drop in the elite level of finishing and scoring, but I do know that his positional awareness and his instinct for goal is being so impressive over the last couple of weeks that I've been able to watch him on a day-to-day basis. He's just one of those players that know where to be. He reads the ball extremely well. Whenever there's a ball coming into that second post, whether it is an early cross or an end line cross, he just seems to find it, and he seems to be dangerous. So I think that Hebert's really going to help this team, and now he has his time to shine, right? He's someone that, although has not admitted it, he's got to have a chip on his shoulder because of how he left New York City FC, a team that brought a whole bunch of talent in his position. And, he had some injuries and then was kind of set aside. So because of that, now he has a chance to say, hey, I'm here for a starting role, and maybe I need to be right next to Raul. So because of that, there is going to be a second level of enthusiasm from him. So I think that's going to help out. But this team is going to want to handle it at home. They're going to go with the front foot. They're going to want to put Colorado on their back heels. They know that the midfield is very robust for Colorado. They're going to want to play him tight. They are going to be pressuring, and obviously they're a talented team. Brian Spencer has nothing but great things to say about Colorado. But because of how things have gone for this team early in the year, some of the disappointments, they are going to want to get forward and they're going to want to dominate. They're going to be the protagonist in this game, and there's no doubt about that.
Couple of comments so far, and both of them are from Sean Vergara that we're going to put in here from the Twitch pitch. Sean thinks that after listening to the Juice Box numbers, he says it's easy money. Seattle in a baseball score. Mariners over the Rockies, basically 6-1. He thinks Seattle's going to put a pounding on Colorado.
Oh, my. Hey, I like it. I mean, I like the positivism. I just don't know if it's going to be a walk in the park. Again, Colorado might not be the most talented team out there, but they are hard at their work. They are well coached. They're going to be problematic at times defensively. They're going to try to disconnect Eber from getting any types of services. A lot of what Seattle's going to want to do is going to go be part of their width. Can Christian Roldan have that great form that he showed last season before the injury? Can Jordan Morris be as electric and dynamic and influential as he was at several games during their CCL run? Can Joe Paulo absolutely just come right in and be that force to be reckoned with, that guy that's going to bring the ball forward, that's going to help in a leadership aspect defensively? I mean, all those things I still want to see. But because they're at home, because of the experience, because of the continuity, I would be with him in the terms that Seattle should get a win, whether it's 2-0 or 1-0, they should get the win.
Lewandowski converts a penalty in Europa League, and so Barcelona right now leading 1-0 at Old Trafford and in the aggregate 3-2. Keep an eye on that as we go. All right. You know what it is during the season. As we lead into match weeks, it's time to play cliffhanger. Time to play cliffhanger with Niko. We'll get into questions. Bagiziak actually has a question for you having to do with Albert Rusnak. We'll hang on to that one after we go through all of the other matches. So the way that for those of you that might be watching us for the first time here on Thursdays with Niko as we are in season, what we do, I yell a match out at the top of my lungs. I give the juice box numbers as we go. And when Niko wants to talk about a match, Niko says stop, and we talk about the match. So in order, and these are really easy because most of them are 7:30 kicks on Saturday with the beginning of Apple TV Plus. So here we go, 4:30, and this one is, I believe, an FS1 game. It's NYC and Nashville. Nashville's a plus 108 at home at Geodis. NYC and the draw basically the same, around plus 245 in that particular match.
Could you repeat that on? I'm sorry, I kind of lost you for a second.
No worries. Nashville at home at Geodis is a plus 108. NYC on the road and the draw are about the same. Right now, they're basically both a plus 245. So that's what you've got with NYC on the road.
Wow, that's interesting. I like that one. I like the draw on that one, actually. I really, what I've been saying about New York City FC, I think that there's still a lot of, at least soccer, that needs to be organized within that group. There is a positional change and a generational change, if you will, of this team that I'm not high on. You know that Nashville is always going to be a well-structured squad. So I see a lot of a chess match going on here on both ends. Even a New York City FC that's going to want to attack, but I don't know if they have the not the weapons. I don't want to say the weapons, but I don't know if they have the rhythm and the chemistry to be able to break down a Nashville team. But that's a good one. I'll be watching that. I'm excited to see how things play out. Santi Rodriguez, I know that it's not being informed through the team, but I got on good end that contract is completely done. He'll be back in MLS. There is no travel time at this time, which I find it kind of odd with the season starting already. That tells you how difficult those negotiations were. Don't want to bore you, so let's go to the next one.
The 7:30 Easterns. And the first one on the board is Atlanta United hosting San Jose Earthquakes.
I'm going to watch that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. Atlanta United's a minus 172. Your draw is a plus 334. San Jose is a plus 415. So Atlanta United, one of the larger favorites on the board here in match week number 1. Charlotte and the New England Revolution. Charlotte's a plus 110. Your draw is a plus 269. The Revs are a plus 220 on the road. In front of right now, north of 60,000 at Bank of America, and they're trying to fill the entire stadium for this one. They've opened the upper tank.
Ooh.
Right now, they've got over 60,000 tickets sold, and a lot of the $15 seats, according to Willie P. Style, Will Pelagic, the play-by-play voice for Charlotte FC. $15 seats in the upper tank. That's what's left on the board right now, north of 60,000 right for now for Charlotte and the Revs.
That venue is always exciting, and Charlotte's a team that, with Snersky and El Tanque Copetti, is going to be a team that you want to watch, you want to tune in for. I don't know if I would touch this with the juice boxes. I think that this is one of the less predictable games, to be quite frank. Actually, if I was to put some money, I might put a little bit of money against Atlanta. Don't hurt me, don't kill me, my people. I love Atlanta, but that's a big money there with a San Jose team that I think it's got a lot of potential this season. But this one's going to be unpredictable. I like the venue. I like what Charlotte has in terms of a roster, but it's going to be very unpredictable for the juice boxes.
DC United hosting Toronto FC and their new goalkeeper, Sean Johnson. Get this. DC is a home favorite with all the chaos that they had last year. They are a plus 136 at home. The draw is a plus 263. Toronto FC on the road with all of their firepower. And yes, I know their defense is Swiss cheese, but that's why they got Sean Johnson at the back now. Plus 177. So Toronto is a road dog at DC by about 40 juice boxes right now.
I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I'm going to the casino today, and I'm taking Toronto. I will almost guarantee that to be a good bet for anyone watching. Yes, I mean, DC United, all due respect, there is nothing about that team that gives me the confidence that they're going to be able to take on a talented squad like Toronto. I mean, say what you will about it being on paper or not. When you look at the coaching, the talent, what they did last year at times, and some of those new weapons, I'll take that all day, every day.
All right, FC Cincinnati and Houston. Houston in Cincinnati. The Ben Olsen administration kicks in at TQL. FC Cincinnati's a minus 164. Your draw is a plus 334. Houston is just under a plus 400. I think it's going to take a while for Houston to get to full song on the engine, so it wouldn't surprise me if FC Cincinnati put up a bit of a number against Ben Olsen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll take the over on goals on that one for sure, if there was one. But, yeah.
There will be. I'm looking up the number for you.
Yeah, but definitely Cincinnati. I mean, they really turned some heads. I am looking for a breaking season for Brandon Vasquez. I don't even know if he's going to be here past the summer, but I really do believe that team with that front end and a player that just seems to get better, not season by season, but every 2-3 months. I really do believe that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, the back end still not completely solidified, but they're going to score some goals. So I'll take the over on goals on that game.
3.5 is a plus 148 in the composite. 4.5 is a plus 330.
Ooh.
So if you're looking at something 3-2-ish, north of that, it's a plus 330. 5.5, if you're really ambitious, is a plus 700.
Oh no, I like the over 4. That's good. I'll take a nice 4 on that one. Yeah, absolutely.
4.5 is a plus 330 in that particular matchup. Now, on the board, Inter Miami hosting CF Montreal, soon to be Impact, probably, maybe, hopefully never at this point. Inter Miami's a plus 152. Your draw's a plus 248. And a CF Montreal side under Hernan Losada is a plus 167. No Georgi Mihailovic. There's a lot of pieces missing for CF Montreal. I'm intrigued by this one. I don't know if I'm going to touch it. If I ever wanted to touch it in the first place, I may just sit and watch this one because of all the chaos that might happen with both of these teams.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to make myself a nice little drink, nice little brown liquor for that one, but I won't touch it on the juice boxes, I'll tell you right now. But I am intrigued. I want to see how that team, I think they have all the athleticism necessary to really push what Losada wanted to do in DC, but was not allowed to do. That team is young. The team is talented. The team is quick. And you know that Losada, he's going to be looking at all, absolutely, that they're going to be a team that's going to pressure, they're going to get up and down the floor. They're more than likely going to play with a three-man back line, really push those fullbacks forward. I'm interested in this game. Miami, always fun to watch because of the turnaround they had last season from being an absolute scrub to honestly being an interesting team. I'll be watching this one for sure.
Orlando City and Red Bulls, I think first and foremost, take the under. Orlando City's a plus 136. Your draw's a plus 229. Red Bulls are north of plus 200. I imagine kick and chase versus what Orlando City wants to do is probably going to frustrate the ever-living you-know-what out of Orlando City. It could be a long day. I'm thinking that number in the middle at a plus 230.
Yeah, I think so too. That's another game that I would not be putting my money on, but I will be watching. I think that Martin Ojeda, Facundo Torres, Van Zier, those are all playmakers that are going to want you to tune in, that are going to demand you to watch, and I will be doing that for sure. I know that we can't watch all these at a time. Don't think I'm crazy here, but I'll probably be up late night Saturday when the family goes to sleep and do that, disgusting sicko MLS type thing, and I'm just going to sit there and watch quite a few of these games.
Let's see. We've got Union and Crew also at 7:30. Union hosting. They're a minus 143. No real surprise. Draws a plus 278. Crew are north of plus 380 visiting Philadelphia Union, your Eastern Conference champs from last year. I've got to go Union here. I just don't see it.
That's a good game. I will go Union because of everything we said. To me, they're on paper the best team in MLS. From coaching, from talent, from what they were able to acquire, depth pieces. I mean, everything about Philadelphia should be scary to anyone facing them. But Columbus, man, it's a team that, at least on the attacking end, with Christian, with Cucho, and Salarayan, man, that's a team that could score some goals. I really do believe that Cucho, and you can quote me on this, I think he's going to be the Golden Boot this year.
Okay.
To me, Cucho Hernandez is going to ball this season, and he's going to take that Golden Boot. But in terms of being the team structure, I think Philadelphia takes this one.
Couple of 8:30 Eastern times. Austin gets to host St. Louis City SC. I feel like we need to emphasize City, considering that's always in caps. Austin, one of the larger favorites on the board. I think they are the largest favorite at a minus 189 as St. Louis City SC comes online at a plus 484. Your draw is a plus 330. I think this one is all Verde.
Yeah, with all due respect to the new team, the only thing that we should emphasize about St. Louis is the City part, because that roster puts me to bed, and I just don't see it. I think they're going to get a big reality check. And I really do feel like they're going to be at the bottom of the West this season.
Dallas and Minnesota United is the other 8:30 Eastern. FC Dallas is a minus 127, plus 270 on the draw. Minnesota United on the road is a plus 340. Once again, we've talked about it, one of the bigger stories in the offseason. No Reynoso, no offense, no juice boxes.
No Bebello, big problemo. That's the way I see it for Minnesota against that FC Dallas team that, oh, man, that Jimenez move was fantastic. I mean, I get it that there is a lot of players in that you're going to have to figure out how to put together. If it's me, you put them in a 4-2-3-1, pull back Ferreira, allow Jimenez to cook up top with Velasco and Ariola out wide. I mean, man, that just sounds like beauty to me. However, if they stick with the 4-3-3, he might just be a depth piece, so they're going to have to figure some things out. But the Jimenez move to me is big at a great price, half the change, all the talent, big in depth. Watch out for FC Dallas this season.
3 matches to go here on the weekly preview. El Tráfico Grande at the Rose Bowl. 9 gazillion people are apparently going to be there. Galaxy are a dog at a plus 177. Draws a plus 275. Your defending champs without Gareth Bale are a plus 131.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I don't. I don't care how you play it. I don't care how you move it. I wouldn't even do the over/under on this. I mean, there is so many question marks on both sides that the only thing that you know is that it's going to be watched by everyone, and it's going to be a ball. I mean, it's going to be one of those electrifying atmospheres. That's the only thing you can count on. Everything else is out the window. I really don't know how it's going to play out. I'm not as high in LAFC as some. I think they got some talent, but too many changes. But that's me. I feel like I say it every season now. LA Galaxy, same thing. I think they're going to get a lot of their width from their fullbacks. I think they're going to play with a 3-man back line. We'll see how it happens. No Javier Hernandez. I still like Joveljic. Ricky Puig is going to be the determining factor. He is going to move this team depending on how Ricky does. That's how the team will do. He's almost going to be the new Bebelo Reynoso to Minnesota. That's going to be Ricky for the LA Galaxy. It'll be a fun one, though.
10:30 Eastern, 2 starts, 2 that you can stare at from the absolute beginning. Portland hosting Sporting. Peter Vermes signs a 5-year contract extension that keeps him there through 2028. A lot of folks were thinking maybe that Peter Vermes would be in the discussion for the men's national team gig. If I had a pencil, and instead I'll do it as a pen, do the Dikembe Mutombo bit, wag the finger. Not so fast, my friend. Peter Vermes, another 5 years at Sporting. They are a decided dog heading to Providence Park at a plus 243. Your draws a plus 280, basically. Timbers even money at a plus 100.
Yeah, congrats to Peter. I mean, he is top of the line. The coach with obviously the biggest amount of time leading one club in MLS. I had my doubts for a second, so sometimes I feel like a new presence is needed. Sporting Kansas City doesn't seem to believe so. There are some interesting things happening there. I hear that they're in the market for a center back. I'm completely on top of it, and I'm hoping to get some news about that here soon. But Sporting Kansas City, I still don't think they're going to be amazing this season. They might be mid-table and low. I hear people talk about what they can do and potential and all these things. I don't necessarily see it. I think they're a good mid-table team for this Western Conference. I think Portland takes this one. I'm excited to see what Portland can do. I think Santiago Moreno is going to have a fantastic season this year. Jimmy, Diego, that team, Evander, obviously, we'll see what he does. I got high expectations for Evander, but I'm always very careful with Brazilian players and their adapting process into MLS. We've seen it over and over again. I think that we might see that from a vendor, but I think Portland takes this one. I just think they're the better team. I think they are a solid unit, and although they might not be completely top of the West, I think that they're a really good team to watch this season.
Anderlecht beats Ludogorets, and Bayer Leverkusen beats Monaco in penalties in Europa League. So now you're free and clear to watch all of your 2:45s, your 3 o'clocks, or whenever they start at 3 o'clock Eastern time, noon on the Pacific. Last game that we go through this week, Vancouver, north of the border, home favorite against RSL. Vancouver's a plus 133. Your draw's a plus 236. RSL is a plus 204. I've got to go Whitecaps here because for me, traditionally, BC Place, one of the toughest places to play just because of travel and airport and customs and coming in, taking the express, all of that kind of stuff. That's an intangible that a lot of folks always seem to forget when they look at juice boxes and go into Vancouver, which is practically the end of the MLS planet. And I think RSL might get might have some issues this week.
Yep, I think so too. I really want to see Sergio Cordova against his old team. I know he was just recently signed, but I think he's the answer up top for this Vancouver Whitecaps team. I like Dahomey. I like Caicedo. A Caicedo that fell short from what a lot of us expected. So can he have a bounce back here and really become a important piece for Vancouver? I think so. I think that there's enough there for me to want to watch Vancouver. But yes, I agree. The trip at Vancouver, I would be taking Whitecaps as well.
All right, before we go, Bagiziak has a question for you that has to do with Albert Rusnak. From the Twitch pitch, should Rusnak be starting anymore?
Yes, absolutely, guys. Look, I hear it. I get it. I understand that he might not be the most exciting player to watch, and he had a horrendous Club World Cup game at Morocco. I'll give you that. But when you see this player on a day-to-day basis, his ability on the ball, his vision, his quality, whenever he is able to find his rhythm and progress the ball the way he wants, he could be a real big difference changer. You heard me last season talk about he was always the man with the pass before the last assist. That's what he does. I think he switches the ball consistently well. I think his passing ability in terms of connecting positive passes is underrated. So yes, he has to be there. That does not mean that we cannot criticize him. Maybe this has to be the year where we put that bar a little bit higher, where it's just not enough to just be a great role player, but now you want to see the stardom. But for him to do that and prove that to you, he has to start. Now, that's a position where there's a lot of talent. So if he's not playing well, and maybe you need to move him around, maybe you switch him with Christian and bring Christian back down a line, and then you get Albert a little bit forward, even though Brian told me I was crazy to think that. But that's things that you can do. But I just believe that he has the talent and the quality to start, and it's his job to lose. But you need him on the field for him to prove that.
All right, now you can answer this next question, and if it's an inside joke that I don't know about that we can't mention publicly, then just say that it's an inside joke and you will take care of it offline. But if it's a legit question, then feel free to answer. Bagiziak also asks why you don't ref with him.
Why don't I ref with him?
Yeah, he says, Nick, why don't you ref with me?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Like I said, Bagiziak says, Nick, why don't you ref with me? And so I'm like, I didn't know if that was
no. Read me the name of the person again.
Bagiziak, Bageeesiac. Bagiziak.
Nah, I don't know, but hey, I'm happy to ref with you, whatever that is. Find me on Twitter. DMs are open. Let me know what's up.
Okay. And then maybe you could tell me what's up next week when we catch back up and figure out what's going on after match week 1. I know you got Soccer Bar coming up real quick. What's going on with Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports?
Soccer Bar, we got an exciting one. Is actually we got a lot going on, obviously, coming into the season. We are going to be talking about some of the things Carlos Vela said this week. LAFC, looking at El Tráfico. I have 2 really good interviews that haven't came out that I'm going to do a lot with. One was Freddie Juarez. Got to talk to him. Fantastic mind. Just a guy that has been in RSL. He's been a head coach. Now he's obviously an assistant to Brian. Talks about his transition, everything he's learned. So that's coming up in Pulso. I'm also going to do a feature on that at Sounder Our Heart. So a lot to do with that. But in Soccer Bar right now, if you want to get your MLS Spanish on, wait about 20 minutes. Look us up in Soccer Bar. It'll be a fun one, that's for sure.
What he said. El Rolo and W. It's another round of Thursdays with Niko here on SDH, live on Twitch, later on the app and on the web. Niko, as always, my friend, thanks a lot. Matches count for a change. We'll catch up with you again next week after match week 1.
All righty, my man. Always a pleasure.
Play it safe, everybody. Mucha plata, y'all. We will catch up with you Friday morning.